Welcome, everybody. I'm joined today by Himangshu, who is the co-founder and chief data officer for Tathya Earth. They have been supplying us with satellite-based data on blast furnaces in Southeast Asia, which goes into our Southeast Asian report. Welcome, Himangshu.
Thank you, Thomas. Hi, everybody. Nice to talk to all of you, and thank you, Kalanis, for inviting me to give a few words on our company. And also, I'm really excited to speak with you.
My pleasure. So, tell us how exactly you get this blast furnace activity data.
Thank you, Thomas, for your question. But before I directly go to the blast furnace issue, let me just give a few words on how we came up with this whole concept of alternative database insights and how we started Tathya and why steel and followed by a few of the major commodities, right? So at Tathya, we realized there are very important economic indicators, be it the commodities production, like hot metal production, the iron ore inventory, the coal inventory, how much is there. So they are tracked by lots of sections, be it the commodity traders, be it the hedge funds, be it the government itself, because they actually influence the policy and frameworks, right? But what we have seen is usually such indicators come late, be it the month end or quarter end, and sometimes they are not even there. For many countries, the results are not there, and sometimes they're even manipulated, right? So that's where we came up with this concept of, while traditional data has this issue, why don't we try some alternative sets of data? So what I mean by alternative sets of data, right? So currently, with the development in technology and democratization of data, lots and lots of new data types are available. Some of the key ones perhaps would be the satellite data, the geospatial-based insights, the data from geolocation data, the shipping data, AIS signals, the IoT data, which is going to be very important in the coming days, right? So we thought, like, if we use these type of data sets to provide near real-time and factual insights, that can be a very good advantage for lots of sections in the society. It has economic as well as social benefits as well. And that's where we came up with this Tathya.Earth, providing real-time insights on key economic indicators. Now, when there are key economic indicators, of course, there are lots and lots of economic indicators importantly. But we found that the metal commodities are a very high demand and key area where there are lots of issues, be it the lag, but they are of profound importance. And if we take the example of steel, right? Steel is the backbone of all the industrial activity. And if we can monitor steel production in the major economic countries, be it the China, Japan, South Korea, even the Southeast Asian countries now, that actually gives you an indication of how the world is going to develop, right? Be it the iron ore inventory, that's directly relevant for the steel production, be it the coal inventory. So that's where how we started with the metal commodities first of all. Now, in this metal commodities, again, why we took steel or the pig iron production, which is actually relevant to your query, blast furnace. It's actually the backbone of any industrial activity, right? Steel production, and currently it's produced, and then it's produced mostly by China, India, and most of the developing countries where the data is not easily available as well. So we thought of leveraging satellite data to determine the steel production. Right now, what we have found is usually in a blast furnace, and be it the blast furnace or the heat producing areas in a mill, like the sintering plant, the coke oven plant, they emit heat, right? So there is a radiation from these plants, and this radiation is actually captured by certain bands of different few types of satellites. Not all satellites, but yeah, different types of satellites store this information. Now you have to, as digital signals, right? So you have to, you now, if what we have seen is once you convert these digital signals to understandable data using our own indexing algorithm, laws of physics, and all, we found that this is very highly correlated and proportional to the production of steel that is happening in that particular mill. And that was, and these insights that we can be able to derive is actually, like today I can determine how much it is radiated, and from that I can get the insights. So that is how we came up with with the use case of determining the blast furnace activity. And currently, we are able to give this as an activity, which is actually measurement of how much activity index, I would say, which is actually a measurement of how much activity is happening inside the blast furnace.
Thanks. So when you're compiling this data, how do you source that data, and what are the technical aspects that you need to consider when producing your index?
Yeah, so currently we are using mostly public source of data, like the Sentinel, the Landsat, the Moody's, and there are certain commercial satellites also you can use. We have been looking at that, but once you use them, the cost goes high, and it's sometimes the affordability issue, right? So what we are trying at our end is to make our model and algorithms strong enough to derive quality insights from publicly available sources only. Now, while doing that, there are few issues. First of all, issue of frequency, right? Now, when I say issue of frequency, data is sometimes usually say if we are using Sentinel data, it is usually available 5 days a week. The one with the good resolution, but there is another type of satellite which is giving at a daily level, but the resolution is not that good, right? And then because of that, you may not be able to get that quality insight which you can derive from a high resolution satellite image. Now, to overcome that, we have got our own algorithms. To we call it the fusion algorithms to gather, high quality data or high resolution images from the low resolution images, which thereby addresses the frequencies, right? Now, there are again the issue of cloud. Usually, that is an issue which is we have seen mostly in the monsoon times in Southeast Asia and also in uh, India also. Like the monsoon prone period of around 3 to 4 months, data is not available because once there is cloud, you can just cannot have the quality information. We are currently looking into using alternative sets of data to overcome that. One of that will be the SAR images, which is synthetic aperture quality, which can actually bypass the clouds. We are also looking into how to use specific bands of the satellite which can actually bypass the cloud issue, and we are working on that. So we are pretty hopeful that once we are able to leverage these two areas, we can have a pretty continuous, high quality set of data.
Great. So obviously the data that we're using at the moment from you is blast furnace activity data, but you have other kinds of data that you're developing as well, right? Tell me about your other projects.
Right. So yeah, we have actually developed. We are actually working on some other interesting products. While working with blast furnace, we have realized like if we can get the iron ore inventory, which is there in the major ports in the world, that is actually very very good indicator, pre-indicator of the steel production. Besides that itself being a very good indicator, economic indicator as such. So we are currently working on developing, or we have actually completed the iron ore inventory index product as well, and we have got some good results. Next in pipeline is the coal inventory index, which is obviously because of this whole triangle set of important commodities like coal, iron ore, and steel, highly correlated. So we are working on that as well. We've just recently started, and we feel once we complete these three products, that will give you a very good and holistic view of the overall ferrous industry. Followed by that, we are also thinking of working on the ferrous scrap because that is also having lots of demand, mostly in the developed countries where the lots of scrap is used. And we are also thinking in pipeline. We have the aluminium, the copper, and the zinc. And yeah, these are the more important set of metal commodities we are looking into. And we have thought of because of the importance of emissions, and that actually uses the same satellite based insight. So we have actually explored that and are doing a little bit of research on that, but again that is just at the evolution stage.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. And what about your geographical reach? Because obviously at the moment you've
Right.
looked at data in China and Southeast Asia and India also, but can that be replicated internationally?
Yeah, of course. So that is the advantage of the technology that we're building, right? It's highly scalable. The only thing, say, for the hot metal index, the only thing first you have to do is, you have to identify the location and, mark out the heat emitting areas. And once you do that for the mills, and you just put that in our model, and every week we can get the data for that, because the coverage of this mills is always there, right? So we have started with, of course, we started with the Chinese mills. They are of the most high production and critical importance for the whole world. But because of the scale and the size and the number of mills, it will take some time to complete the Sina index, right? So we are working on that. In parallel, we have recently completed the Southeast Asian index. We have also covered few of the important. We have actually completed the South Korean index as well, which is fourth important country. And we have also done some coverage on the key mills in India. And in future, we want to go to the European markets and the American markets as well. So that is in our pipeline. Or stage by stage, we are going on the covering the other geographic areas.
That will be very interesting. We look forward to seeing those developments come to fruition.
Sure. Thank you.
For joining me today, Himangshu.
Thank you. Thanks, Thomas, and hope to talk to you again. Thank you.